In the middle of the earth, in the land of the Shire, lives a brave little hobbit whom we all admire. With his long wooden pipe, his furry wooden toes, lives in a hobbit, everybody knows him. Bilbo, Bilbo, Bilbo Baggins. So only 3 feet tall.
Okay, that's enough.
I'm handing my resignation into this podcast.
Can you at least give us the clap if you're not going to sing?
You need to stay because you've got a beard.
Yes, to be fair, now it is
Adam is Sam's beard.
Do you want to do a podcast with me, Kev? You got
Yeah,
beard?
could do, yeah.
Swords,
okay, cool.
boards, stubble, boards and beards.
No,
I don't
that's
know.
terrible.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to episode 14 of Stubble, Boards and Beards.
Or Bilbo Baggins' Shire songs.
This is
from
what
the
happens
60s.
when you're off.
Yeah,
It
it goes awry.
It goes to chaos, so we need
Yeah.
you, Papa Smurf, to rein us in. That's your
I'll
name
do
for
my
the
best.
episode.
Papa Smurf, Adam.
That makes more sense.
Welcome everybody. He's back because he wasn't here last week. Hello,
Yeah.
nice to have you back.
Thank you, it's nice to be back.
Yay!
Yay.
And tolerate our singing. Those of you who weren't here last week won't know what the hell we were just doing. Our friend of the show, Kevin Should Be Writing, is also here.
Yay!
Hello, you're not writing.
I'm not writing.
Kevin should be
I
writing.
should be writing, but I'm not writing. I did answer the questions though. It was American Hustle.
It was, yeah, because last week, those of you who don't know, Kevin Should Be Writing, long time listener, second time computer, I don't know what was
Second time caller.
But
Yeah.
we'll ask questions. We always ask them to the void, and then Kevin started answering, and then we always ask them to Kevin.
We'd appreciate if more of you answered, because then we'd have you on too.
But it's weird because
Yeah.
our only listener is sat here with us.
But I still listen.
Sure.
No.
I still
So,
listen to the episode.
Kevin would always answer our questions, and then you came on the podcast and couldn't answer our questions because you were asking them, or
So
we were asking them, and then you went home and listened to the episode
answered the question.
and sent messages to answer the question.
Brilliant.
Oh, this is amazing.
Well, let's do more of that then.
It's
Yeah?
an Ouroboros.
It's the snake eating his own tail.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is
we're
that
all-
what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
the
I'm
guests answering the questions while being listeners.
We will. It's been a minute. I've had not enough caffeine, and it's morning recording, which has not been a while since we did morning recording. Hello, both. How are you? Let's be professional.
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Awake. I was tired last time. Towards the end of
That's because
the
the end of the
episode.
day.
Yeah, it was the end of the day, and the episode, as it went on, just got more
More rambling.
weary.
2 minutes in, we haven't said a single thing. This week I'm going to dub this episode without permission because I'm wanting to put it on the internet. I'm going to call it Be Kind, Rewound, because we're not quite going back to the beginning. But this last week, for those of you who listened, we were talking about the state of the film industry. A few episodes ago, Adam and I did an episode with Toby about the state of the gaming industry and just what it was about. And then last week, Kevin and I did an episode about the state of the film industry and narrowed it down to, since we've known each other, which we realised was 2008, which makes me feel old. I don't know why, but it did. Because then I saw a few days later, saw your son, who was
Same age.
the same age, was like, oh crap. And we rambled a bit about the state of the film industry, but with no feedback or input from Adam because he couldn't be with us. And we thought, getting your input and your feedback, because I know you listened to the episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to get there. But before we do, possibly for the last time, for a while anyway, or maybe we'll keep it going. Adam, tell us, where's Jayce?
Jayce this week is... Jayce, formerly of this parish, sorry,
There
I
we
should
go.
say. This week is skiing in Aspen, Colorado.
I like. Can he ski?
I have no idea. I doubt it.
Okay.
This could be his tomorrow.
Mr. or Mrs. Rainbird, when you listen to this, please could you text
Confirm or
Yeah,
deny
confirm or deny
the skiing
Jayce
abilities.
Gordon's Barrett's skiing abilities. Whether he's what's the hardest skiing slope? Is it
The black rock.
Double black
Yeah.
diamond.
Oh, okay. Ooh, are you a skier?
No, I just watch like ski movies.
Oh, okay. What ski movies have you watched?
I don't know. I can't, don't put me on the-
Sorry,
Snow
no.
dogs.
I was
Snow dogs,
okay,
man.
cool. I was just intrigued. I was thinking,
That's amazing. Oh, he's going to call me on it. Shit.
shit. no. I was like, ooh.
Can you go back to shouting at your phone?
Sorry. I could answer. Yeah, I'll be able to answer them.
We can. Well, we'll go with.
We saw this.
Christopher Nolan in Inception.
Yeah.
They ski in Inception.
Yeah,
There's
there's a James Bond one. Isn't
Yeah.
there?
Is it,
There's a few James Bond ones.
is it For Your Eyes Only,
Inside.
or is it?
There's the
One of
skiing.
those
Yeah.
two-
It's one with Roger Moore.
Yeah.
Well,
he
he
skis off.
uses
And
he's got the
Union Jack.
Isn't there the one where
It's a great visual.
Yeah, skis off the cliff with the parachute? Union Jack
I
parachute.
did the same. That was us miming
Good
parachuting. Sorry, I missed what you said.
And it's where he skis off the cliff.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then
I thought you were taking a look at us skiing with one hand.
no,
Like parachuting
no,
with one
because
hand.
you said he's parachuting, and I did exactly the same mine, and then I was like, this is.
So Jayce is skiing, which is great. He decided to stop drinking the mead that he bought last week on the internet.
New meat coming out.
Watch out for those trees, Jayce.
I'm excited.
Yes. So Jayce is no longer with us in the sense of he's in Colorado.
He's passed on.
He's actually, yeah.
If you listen to this response, next time you use a Ouija board, Jayce, make contact. So I'm going to come. No, let's do it now. Let's do Hobbit Corner. We've already sung once.
Yeah,
Come on, you
let's
can join in now.
I don't know the words.
Kevin got them up in his
I
phone.
got them up.
I don't want to see the words.
While
I never agreed to the Hobbit
Now, what's
Corner.
brilliant is that Kevin's going to sing while you tell us what you did in your Hobbit Corner.
Oh god. Right. Well, okay. So I have continued to be painting Space Marines. I was up till really 3 a.m. last night, finishing off the sergeant of the squad.
Wow.
And they're looking great. I'm really pleased with them.
How
Have you
can
seen
you-
them on
I've seen them. I've
Instagram?
liked them. I like the fact that you've kept.
Your eyes aren't open because you're so tired. How can you see if they're good?
I asked my wife. She says they look alright.
And it connects with your Orky green.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Are they on there? Are they on there?
No, not yet, because I'm going to finish. I've got one more guy to finish. And
So
I'm
how
gonna do
did
that whole
Kevin
squad.
see them and I didn't see them?
Because
I've been
Kev
liking them
looks
on
at stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, but I said, are they on Instagram for me to look at?
Not the new
5
ones.
of them are.
Oh, the ones I've seen?
Yeah.
Not the newbies?
No,
Okay.
not the
No,
newbies.
okay.
Not yet.
So you've been painting, have you used them yet in battle?
No, I kind of set myself, and I'm going to shoot myself in the foot with this, kind of set myself a challenge of trying to paint a whole army before I actually play them on the table. That's what I
So practically, how many models do you have in the house? Of this squad? Or of this space?
10 infiltrators, a war suit, and 3 characters, and then for the rest of the list you need like a tank, 10 more men, and a squad of 3 dudes.
So it's not like you're
not
all
massive,
tweeting lots and
yeah,
lots and lots and lots.
and that's the difference between that and orcs, is that I don't need like 50 guys for every squad.
Could you not just paint them vanilla?
Yeah, but everyone does that. I don't want to do that.
No, because they are vanilla. You know my love of Space Marines, is the vanilla of...
I was thinking, yeah, like a creamy colour.
There is creamy colour ones.
You were actually going.
Jayce is currently painting some creamy colour ones.
No, I just think they're bland as
Oh,
fuck.
okay.
I'm staring. Because...
You haven't played Warhammer for months, man.
No, I have no problem with
No,
that. No, not at all.
I think it was a flash in the pan for you, wasn't it?
It might have been a flash in... Flash? Is it flash in the pan?
A flash in the pan.
Flash in the pan. He did say flash.
Yeah, but the expression,
Flash in the pan.
rather than where does it come from? What's the etymology of flash in the pan?
Remember when you flambe something, isn't
Yeah.
it? You get a flash of fire.
Ah, okay.
So that was you were just a
So
flash in the
I thought you
pan.
said flash in the pan, like it was really bad shit.
Be cooking that.
Genuinely, but that's what I thought. I was like, have I always been saying this for 40 plus years? Wrong. But no, it's flash in the pan. Okay. Cool. Anything else in your hobby?
I'm trying to organise a one-shot for Dungeons and Dragons for my wife's work colleagues who all play in their own games and things, and they want a Halloween one-shot to sort of get together, and because they've got a 2-week half term. Steph's school's 2-week half term for October, which is quite nice. So they've got a bit of extra time off, so they want me to do a one-shot for them.
Do they like how dark do they like to go?
Well, one of them wants to play a necro hamster, which is like a Ratatouille style character piloting a zombie.
Because I thought if the band, I mean, you won't do this. This is immediately stupid. Why don't you just reenact Saw?
Yeah.
Where
Well,
they get to destroy each other.
so the vibe of necro hamster is kind of all I've been given to go off. No one else has created a character. No one else has.
Well,
has
therefore,
done
it's okay.
anything.
We're
So,
going to
yeah.
do Ratatouille where they're cooking cannibalism.
yeah,
Make it-
I'll make it grisly. I'll do what I can. It's supposed to be Halloween, so I'll make it grisly. But like, yeah, it'll be funny. Hopefully. So I'm trying to plan that as well at the moment.
Very good, very good.
That's my Hobbit Corner.
Kevin should be writing. Please tell me you've been writing.
I did. I did complete a whole chapter of edits. And it was a good edit, and it threw me off for the next chapter. I'm like, oh no.
Did you move all the pieces on the board?
I did move all the pieces of the board, and now I'm having to reset the board, which is complicated because it's like I can tweak this, but I don't want to break this. And
Surely writing a book's easy, Kevin. You just
It
have to
should
get
be.
middle of end.
it should be.
Start at the end, work way back.
Yeah, sometimes.
Will anything
Well,
you've done break book one?
No. It's all sticks into book one.
So if it does, you just say it's all a dream.
do a Bobby Ewing. For those, maybe
For those
that
who
one
don't
listener.
remember.
Thanks, Sarah. Don't get that reference. So I did a full chapter last weekend. I was supposed to do some writing this week, but I've been randomly watching films.
Oh, what you
No,
watched?
good.
I watched Joker Part 2,
Ooh, interesting.
which I enjoyed because I heard going into it was dog shit, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It's always the best way.
Yeah, so now I'm trying to work out if I liked it because it wasn't as bad, or if it was a good film. So that's the bit I'm stuck in at the moment. I need to see it again.
With that film, what's interesting is I discovered that when I went back and listened to Mark Herbert's review. I don't listen to a lot of reviews anymore
Of part 2.
of that film.
Right.
I don't read reviews anymore, particularly, and I never listen to them until I've seen the film myself. I don't particularly care. There's a couple of journalists I respect their opinion on, even if I don't agree with. It's interesting to hear them. Kermode is one of them, and he and Simon Mayo, who I've listened to for years, both liked it more than the first one. And
interesting.
they're in the minority, clearly, of both punters and reviewers.
Yeah, I think it's going to work better with an international audience. I think the domestic audience in America is just not. They're not enjoying
It
it.
wasn't what they wanted, was it?
Whereas it does have a kind of European kind of quality to it. It's like an art film. It looks beautiful. The acting is really good.
Has it still got that 70s vibe?
Mm-hmm. It's just bigger sets, bigger. Everything seems to be a bit bigger.
And here's a genuine question that I was vaguely concerned about while we're here. When I saw the trailer, is Alan Partridge distracting? Genuinely.
No, he's literally in it for 5 minutes or so. It's like a.
Because I watched the trailer and thought, what? And I know he's done more than Alan Partridge, and he's done other stuff. And he did Philomena.
Yep.
James G. Dent, etc. So I know he's more than that character. But it to me would go, that's you.
He's not playing Alan Partridge in it, so it isn't that
I think
distracting.
that'd be great if he was.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be cool. Huzzah!
Can you imagine?
But he's only in it for a couple of minutes. It does have a vibe of Natural Born Killers to it
Okay.
that
I like that.
I quite like, but it's not that at all. That's the kind of wrong way to sell it. But it does. There's something that feels Natural Born Killers about it. I don't know if it's the romance and the chaos that they have between them, where everything sort of falls apart around them.
Interesting, because the only thing I've seen about this since it came out was like sensationalist like Facebook articles, which are like mass walkouts and what was the secret that Joaquin Phoenix whispered to Lady Gaga at the end, and it's like I don't care, I've not seen this film.
Clickbait.
That's
Clickbait.
it's
exactly the
exactly what it
same conversation they were having with Lost in Translation.
Yeah,
What did Bill Murray whisper to Charlotte Jackson at the end of it? And it's like, you don't need to know.
Mm.
Don't need to know.
That's not the point.
No.
Absolutely.
Randomly, I did go and buy a film after our podcast last time, which was The Hitcher, which you came around and watched,
Yes.
which was
And
good
I've
fun.
Never seen it. And
Not the White Rouge character, the Hitcher.
No, it was the 1986 film with Rutger Hauer and I want to say John C. Reilly. It's not that.
Is it what
But
they based
see
Hobo
Thomas
with a
Howell.
Shotgun on?
now that's a classic.
No, not really.
No, because I've not seen that one. I've not seen the Hitcher. But
No,
Hobo with the Shotgun's amazing.
Hobo the Shotgun is insane. There was when what was the double bill? Grindhouse, when Tarantino and Rodriguez did Grindhouse.
Oh, Death Proof and
Yeah, they did. They had a competition where you could enter fake trailers for Grindhouse films, and the director of Hobo the Shotgun submitted a fake trailer, which was Hobo the Shotgun, and it was so popular that they were like, "Okay, we'll make the film," and it's nuts.
It is
Great.
mental. Years ago we saw it. Part of our TV genre.
What have you been doing for your Hobbit Corner?
Yeah.
My Hobbit Corner this week editing. No, this week what have I been doing? I got ready for Blade Runner, which we didn't play in the end.
But you're still ready.
But I'm prepping and getting it ready and casing and learning how to run this, which is weird having DM'd GM for years now. It feels different for the first time in a very long time.
Different good?
Different good, different stretch. So I don't want to give players too many hints, but they need to be able to solve the puzzle because it's a crime you're meant to solve.
Yeah.
It's the whole point. And the other thing I'm adding into all of the flavour is this could just be a crime investigation. So I wanted to have a Blade Runner vibe to it. You could stick it in the 1940s Humphrey Bogart movie and a crime to solve.
Yeah.
So, okay, what makes this different as a tone, as a vibe, and not just the music we play around the table?
Yeah, I think the atmosphere helps. With and I think when we played it, it was raining outside, so that was well done for that, adding that flavour to the game.
And apart from that, that was my Hobbits this week. It was very calm, very quiet. No, I lie. I did lie. I read my horror stories. Hooray. And I binged. I watched more of the Penguin. For those of you who care, go watch it. It's good.
So good.
And I binged because I forgot, having not had Sky for so long, that I hadn't got up to it because I really wanted it out last winter, and so I watched 6 episodes of it in the last 20 minutes.
Wow. Oh, I
finished it.
I did 3 extended Lord of the Rings movies last week.
Oh,
What the?
epic.
Well, I was painting Space Marines.
It's a good background. Have you been watching The Penguin?
No, I haven't seen anything. But I like the Batman film, so I just kind of forgot that there's a thing that existed. But listening to the podcast, and I was like, oh yeah, the Penguin.
It's really good.
It's
It
very.
literally just sort of ties straight in from the end of the Batman film.
And I finished Slow Horses. That's the other thing.
Yay!
Because the last episode.
Which I need to start.
Huge start. And they always do it when at the end of the last episode of the season, they give you the trailer for the next season because they shot it back to back.
Okay.
So you get last spoilers this season. Hugo Weaving's in it. That's not spoilers. It's
Okay.
just in IMDb. And they showed you that he was in it in the end of season 3. Anyway,
Oh.
worth seeing. Gary Oldman's a legend. In fact, what's that mean? Gary Oldman's such a good actor. I could be Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to bring it up because that was a great one.
So Hobbit Corner. So enough about that. You've heard what we're doing this week, indulging in life. Adam, this is what we turned the entire podcast over to you, and I was a blind panic of doing my face.
Great. Let's rock and roll.
No pressure.
No,
no
we
pressure.
want flippancy aside. We knew when we did Be Kind Rewind, you were going to come along, and as always, we'll do it together. But
Yeah.
we couldn't make it, so you knew what the topic was, and you listened to our podcast. So we set ourselves the goal of trying to figure out what has changed. So, the starting question for you.
Yeah.
Since, and we're going to pick the year, since 2008.
Yeah.
This was the year. So Mark,
Give me the big billing movies of 2008.
Crystal Skull's the obvious one.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man. What else? This is where we look like.
Kevin will know.
Kevin will know.
Kevin should be right. We'll be on.
So that was the summer of those. So, and there were some blockbusters when the Marvel Universe opened,
Yeah.
properly opened.
What was the big non-Marvel film then?
So I'm just looking up.
And
Yeah.
non-Disney.
You carry on. I'll find it.
So he will get that because well, he's now closing the Hobbit lyrics because I'm not singing. So since then, what do you think? So let me start. While he's looking for information, because I didn't know you then. Were you a film guy then? Were you not a film guy then? Were you a game guy then? Were you?
I've always been.
Are you more a film guy now than you were then, or is it?
I'm less of a film guy now than I am then, and it's not through sort of lack of wanting to do it. It's just because I kind of like am really picky about what I'll go and see in the cinema, and like I don't tend to sort of. I used to watch a lot of movies just like in the evening and things, and I just don't anymore. And I always get to the end of the year and I go, I've seen like 5 films this year, and I'm really disappointed. And
Yeah.
I should make a conscious effort to watch more films. Like I've spoke to you about it before, and been like, I just went down to HMV and bought like 8 Blu-rays of movies that I've not seen just because I wanted to watch them and never got round to it.
And you've had that, in fact, pausing side by side. You've done that in the last 6 months. You
Yeah.
told me on the dog walk. You went, yeah, I went and I bought 5 cracking films, and one of them was, I don't know what it was. One of them was Nicolas Cage.
Colour Out of Space.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's coming to me. Have you watched that?
Yeah, I've watched everything but Barbie so far. I haven't watched the Barbie film.
So
yet.
you went to HMV at the same time as buying Colour Out of Space, bought Barbie.
Yeah.
Love it.
And Talk to Me and Asteroid City and
Okay, so you have
That's a good
watched
one.
them, so you've made the
Yeah.
time to watch them. Very cool. So, since 2008 to 16 years, yeah, it is 16 years. So you have been picky about, is that?
kind of. I mean, I got swept up in superhero hype the same as sort of everyone else did, as and when it was sort of in its prime. We're talking pre-Avengers Endgame, when it was all sort of like each piece was like quite a linear thing that you could follow quite easily, and you could just be like, right, well, the next film will lead into the next film, and the after credit scene was always, oh, this is character coming next or whatever, and that kind of generated that thing. And then since, in my opinion, since the Endgame sort of thing, they kind of like, oh, how are we going to top this? And it seems like it's a case of, right, throw everything at the wall, see what the audience resonates with, and then we'll follow that thread. And then obviously there's been things that have fallen part with that sort of style of things, like the Jonathan Majors incidents and all that sort of stuff that was kind of put their stuff on hiatus, and then it's kind of like, right, let's resurrect the corpse of Robert Downey Jr. and bring him back in for a villain.
Dr. Doom.
But yeah, so I was swept up in that. I was swept up in the. I mean, I'm not sure if 2008 was when the Star Wars sequels were coming out.
Here's the
No.
list.
So 2008, you had Will Smith in £7.
Never saw that.
You had Jumper with Hayden Christensen.
Right. Okay.
That was alright.
This-
I thought it was a
this-
bit of a
this-
nitwit.
There's some good films. The Quantum of Solace.
Question of sport.
Question of Sport. Yeah. Frost Nixon. Hurt Locker.
I saw Hurt Locker.
The big one.
Amazing.
The Dark Knight.
Oh right. Okay.
And I saw another one. It's gone. Let's go with those. But yeah, there were
Yeah,
some big ones.
okay.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because I was going to ask the question. We all kind of jumped on the Iron Man bandwagon as the world did, and went, okay, it can work. This is interesting. It's Robert Downey. It works.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. What's the DC equivalent at that time?
Yeah.
Because obviously the Snyderverse doesn't.
Well, this was pre all of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if that was the Dark Knight.
It was the other one was Cloverfield. Did I say
Oh,
Hellboy
I
2?
liked Cloverfield.
Hellboy,
No.
Hellboy 2 was that
Okay.
year as
Because
well.
Hurt Locker was
Okay.
good, and actually Hurt Locker was the year that won the Oscar, and bloody Avatar didn't.
Yes.
Avatar was the other thing. It was around that time.
Okay.
Because I remember Sigourney Weaver got in a huff with the fact that James Cameron didn't win,
Mhm.
and my respect for her went down for about 3 seconds. I loved this. She's she's Ripley,
Ellen Ripley.
but she literally had a little bit of a moan on socials, if it's to be believed, that Cameron didn't win when he should have. And I thought actually, out of the 2 films, Hurt Locker was so much better.
Well,
Yeah, it's
let's be real. Avatar was Dancing with Wolves in space.
It was
Fern Gully
Yeah.
It
as well,
yes.
apparently.
absolute Pocahontas in space.
It
It
was a
absolute-
massive budget.
and no script and I really wanted to say that Unobtainium was
Oh,
fake, but
don't.
apparently
It's a real thing. Yeah, no,
Oh,
it's a real thing.
What?
Yeah.
It's a
Unobtainium.
real thing.
What?
As in, like, it's a literal
Yes.
mineral that exists.
Yeah, but
What?
in the sense
Is
that
it really hard to
it's
obtain?
unobtain- Yeah, it's literally it's the name of a mineral that's hard to obtain.
Yeah, no, we're not making that shit up.
I literally was like, I'm out. As soon as he said that, I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this.
So the worst thing with Avatar was the 3D.
Yeah, 3D
So,
cinema.
okay, so this is interesting. We didn't talk about this last time. So going back, we had 3D problem.
Yeah,
Like it was a fad, but it clearly was a fad because we haven't got it now.
yeah.
Like we used to then.
God, I remember 3D because I was living in Hastings and I had a housemate at the time who was like really into like tech and stuff, and he bought a 3D telly and was like, yeah, we'll play like Battlefield and stuff and Call of Duty on it in 3D, and God, it just melted my brain. It's
Too
the
much.
worst thing ever. I was like, this is horrible. I hate this, and then we never watched it again.
So 3D wasn't good.
No, they used to have like a display model in Tesco for the 3D, and when you watch it on a smaller screen, it works somehow. Whereas
Yeah.
on the big screen, it doesn't work. But also, it was immersive 3D. It wasn't sticky, pointy out.
It
3D.
reminds me of those when you go to a theme park and it's like Pirates 4D, and
Yeah.
there's like air that comes out the back of your seats,
Yeah.
and like it
Yeah.
rains
Sprinkling
on
water.
you and stuff like that. Like that's kind of like
For the novelty value,
Yeah.
for that kind of thought parky type ride.
Oh, go for
Once in the Blue Moon, I remember going to the IMAX, and the cliche of 3D film, there was a ladder fell out at you.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And
well, there was the Xenomorph one in Disney, wasn't it, or Universal Studios?
was there?
Yeah, so apparently like there was a Xenomorph one. I know this because I had a friend years and years ago who she was like, that's why I was so scared of the baby, because it's like they got an egg in a tube and it opens and then you hear it like running along the walls and
Oh.
coming up behind you and stuff like that. And she was like, she was a kid at the time, so it kind of like traumatized her. I don't know why her
Nice.
parents thought it would be a good idea to go into that. But, like yeah, but yeah, I had one like that, which I think would be a really cool thing.
But 3D, you're right, that was a thing, and Avatar was there. So we've had the 3D wave. Because
And
my list of stuff.
Because they were pushing 3D as a
As the
way
new
of getting
standard,
people to
wasn't it?
come to
Yeah.
the
To the
cinemas
cinema over what? 'cause this
over
is
TV.
pre-COVID,
People
over
were staying
TV.
home to watch TV shows.
And they just weren't. The film industry was in a slump.
Yeah.
You all know this more than me.
Yeah.
Was Netflix and stuff, I think.
No, Netflix was you could rent DVDs.
It was
through
still
Netflix.
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster was still around. That was around till
You were alive.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to.
I was but a child
You've
then.
got to remember, I also obliterated my long-term memory.
Oh, no,
of
no, no, no,
hardcore
no, I
drug
get it,
use
I
as
get
a
it.
young man, so I can't remember dates.
I just love the thought.
So on a mental level, you're about on par with us.
Yeah,
so
I
that's
hope
good.
so.
So
we
yeah.
didn't. So,
Yeah, we did it, but we just.
so we're just 3 old men for different reasons.
Yeah.
Netflix wasn't.
Netflix was-
a thing.
it
but
was
you
a
rented.
rented-
It's like Love Film Discs.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Love
mum
Film-
still does that. She still gets DVDs delivered through the post that she then
Yeah,
posts
it's
back.
Cinema Paradiso now, I think.
Yeah,
It's-
she
our
like,
friends.
loves it. I'm like, you could just stream all of this, and she's like, no, I want them to come in the mail.
Video games, because if you think the games that were coming out around that time was Halo 3, Bioshock, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It was like big, massive games where people were shifting from they would move release dates for films based on when a
What
video
game
game
was coming out? No, okay.
Like
Oh yeah, it's interesting because now the industry in the gaming industry is bigger financially.
oh, much, but yeah.
But the fact that they would move release dates to accommodate
Well, it
Yeah.
makes or breaks some games. Like,
and makes or breaks some films every day.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, it was more the films that were shifting out
Yeah.
of video games. So if they knew Halo was coming out on the Friday, they weren't going to release the big
A movie on that
yeah,
weekend.
like Fast
Yeah.
and Furious or something that was going to be male dominated.
I always found that work. I used to work in a college where students would have a day off when the release would come out and be sick.
I used to book a day off work to play games.
Yeah, my housemate who had the 3D telly used to book a day off when the new, Grand Theft Auto would come out or something. Like,
Remember you booking the day for Bioshock 2 and it didn't turn up in the post until like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, that was really good.
Oh,
Yeah, I
brutal.
booked it off for Gears of War 2. Yeah, loads of games. That was my Red Dead when that came out.
So 3D was a reason to try and get people back in the cinema because they wanted people to come back to the building and sit together.
It was a gimmick to. It was like
You
what-
can't do this at home, come and do it at home.
Yeah,
Even with the 3D TVs, which was, I'm assuming, and my memory is sketchy on this, they went, we'll try this at home now because we've shown you how glorious it is at cinema. Can you do a smaller version at home?
but it almost seemed to me
Which
that
is what I hated.
Well, it almost seems to be during that period of time when things when 3D was being a big push. It was looking like that was like this is the next progression in technology, and there was a lot more. Like I think you had like 1 2D screen in like a cinema, and the rest would be 3D stuff. And it was like, is this or nothing?
Or we're going to charge you more. You have to buy your glasses.
well, that's why I
Yeah.
didn't see Drag at the cinema because it was 3D only.
Yeah.
You couldn't see
Yeah.
a 2D shown in it, and I was like, nope. And
And the 3D was fascinating because they wanted it to be more immersive, and I didn't need it to be more immersive. I get it's immersive enough because I'm enjoying the story. And yes, there's borders to this screen, and even with the going in 3D, not the popping out.
well, the
3D.
immersive 3D was in the trailers before the film. We had a trailer for
Oh yeah.
Cadbury's chocolate with a big floating head that came out over the audience. It was like, oh, Avatar's going to be so good.
I remember. Yeah.
And then they had the Serrano advert with the glass came out and exploded, and it just shattered glass everywhere. And it was like, whoa, this is going to be so cool. And then the film came on, and it was like, oh, okay, it's depth. You've
It's
gone for
depth.
depth, not pokey out stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't. I didn't need it to be immersive. Like even and jumping ahead to when Peter Jackson did it for the
Lord of the Hobbit, sorry.
the Hobbits,
oh yeah,
and it made it look like an episode of EastEnders to me, in the sense of the quality of the TV.
It was
did.
the,
It
it was
just
the
looked like-
well, that was the 48 frames per second.
Yes, and that. But this is not more immersive. This is EastEnders.
Yeah.
I do not. I do not need it. If it's a good film, I can watch a good grainy film on a VHS. It's a good film. It's a good film. I mean, clearly the quality is better. The quality is better.
Sure.
And so it's a picture, but.
I just find it interesting that it was literally like a fad. But
Well,
must
they
have
were
sunk,
really
they
pushing
must
it.
have
There was,
sunk millions into that.
Yeah.
Like, getting that all set up.
So does that lead into the fads that come now?
but they still are releasing 3D films.
Yeah.
Deadpool was released in 3D. You could do screening
Was it?
still. Yeah, you can do a 3D
Oh.
screening of that. There
What's
was-
that? And you're right, but how many
Avatar.
people know about it?
I didn't even know
I didn't
that.
know, yeah.
I think
Some people still love it.
really.
Weird.
Wow.
If you go on the new again, I was gonna say this week. We kept going about Marvel. We like Marvel, but that's not the end all be all of the film.
No,
But
God, no.
they made a big dent because they had a massive impact.
It
But-
shifted what people's priorities were for
Yeah.
going to cinema, I think. And I mean, it meant that the old summer blockbusters were like big action movies or like,
It's
big
replaced.
set pieces was always replaced with a new superhero, I think. Like every single, for the foreseeable. Still going on to this day, the summer blockbuster this year was Deadpool Wolverine.
So if you go on like Amazon or any of the reviews of the new like 4Ks that come out of the Marvel films, there's some guy, maybe there's 2 of them, and they will give it 1 star and say, "Where's the 3D version?" And they're angry that there's no 3D version released with the 4K disc.
Wow.
Is it you?
It's not me. God, no. I'd be more angry.
If you got
angry if it
3D,
was
watch it.
3D. Yeah.
I never understood the pleasure of it at home. It was
It just gave me
genuine.
headaches.
It was just
But it's funny that saying that though, 3D didn't work, but VR has become like a really popular thing.
I
now.
don't do VR.
but like, I
VR
find
video
it.
games.
Never,
And,
yeah.
I find VR for me it's another novelty thing.
yeah.
So it's like for party games. But
Yeah,
I
I
would
don't-
never.
I think give it another 15, 20 years and it will become like a proper thing.
Embedded in your eyeball.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. The last time I played VR was one of those roller coasters, and I just felt sick in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm that guy, so I'm not the novelty of let's play. What's the dance games VR currently?
A Beat Saber.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Something novel, stupid
Just-
like
just
that. for a
dance,
party
The
yeah.
first
game.
thing I played in VR was Resident Evil 7.
Oh,
Scared
God.
the ever-loving crap out of me. It was brilliant. I absolutely loved it.
But I don't. Again, for the novelty, I don't need it to be immersive, and that perhaps because I'm so used to it not being immersive. And yes, I shit a brick over in isolation. It was just a screen over there. I didn't have the Kindle. I didn't have the Kinect sound.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
sound. I was still shitting a brick.
I wonder if they would do that in VR. Because I think
Well, they've done an Alien game in VR.
Yeah, but isolation would work in VR.
It was a VR Batman.
Batman
game as
Batman
well.
one, yeah, and Arkham City one. Sort of.
But you're right. That works. I mean, if you want more than 3D, even if it's not to my taste, but that's worked. So pulling it back slightly with the 3D thing, do you think we're still playing catch up? If 3D was getting them in, so now we look at the industry.
I don't think it got them in. I think
No,
No.
it did exactly. So when it didn't, and then we leapt on the superhero, and everyone was superhero, and that was partly in one level new material they could make,
Jobs for actors.
jobs for actors,
Yeah.
Who's going to be the big
There's
celebrity in
lots
this
of
one?
Well, that
a guaranteed audience because kids could go.
Yeah,
Kept
because
small.
when it was wide, and they cracked the code of having it like appeal, a mass appeal. Do you know what I mean? Because it would appeal to the people sort of our age because we used to read these books when we were younger. It appeals to kids because it's bright colours and flashy action and stuff like that, and witty things, and it's sort of like, and it's middle of the road sort of comedy style things, lots of quips and stuff. So if you had no idea about any of this, you could still go and get a laugh out of
Enjoy
it.
it, yeah,
and
you didn't
stuff.
have-
Like it was very sort of real middle of the road stuff. Wasn't it?
Yeah,
But audience participation, the film to follow Doctor Strange. No, not Doctor Strange. Guardians of the Galaxy was Avengers: Age of Ultron and Ant-Man. We had that conversation. We could work out what followed.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and I didn't like Age of Ultron at all, but I did like Ant-Man.
You had to watch it to know what's going on there.
Oh, I know.
This is it. That's how they get you.
I enjoyed both. Looking back, Age of Ultron was the worst Avengers film.
It's just
Out of 4. Have there been 4?
Yeah.
There've been 4.
4, 5.
And 4.
There've only been 4.
Oh no, that was 2.
That was number 2.
2. Yeah, of course.
Ant-Man was novel and it was contained and it was a heist movie. It was simple. And look what happened 2 films later.
The sequel was
Quantum
very good.
Mania.
Oh, God, that was
Yeah,
brilliant.
Ant-Man 2 I quite liked. It was fun.
You liked Ant-Man too?
Yeah, when I watched it was fun.
Okay.
Ant-Man 2
I haven't gone
was
back to
the-
you're looking at me like, really? Question?
Really? Yeah.
Did you not like it?
No, I just thought it was like, I don't know, I've seen a lot of memes and stuff saying it's basically Spy Kids 3D.
Okay, now you've said that, I can see that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh no, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kev.
So before we move on from superheroes,
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Well,
2008, right.
so while we're there's the next question, the follow-up, right? So
Okay,
this
cool.
is on my list of superheroes. So I've written here my notes: Marvel versus DC because it became. If we start with
Yeah.
2008, and you're comparing what began as the MCU.
I have a
And-
caveat as well. Or a
Go on.
sidebar. With the rise of the superhero films, we lost film stars. That's another thing that's missing.
Okay.
Movie stars.
Explain.
In the oldie days, back before times when I was young, there'd be a Brad Pitt film or an Arnold Schwarzenegger film out. You go because
Because it's Brad Pitt or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah,
With
whereas
his name above the title.
Yeah.
isn't it?
you
Yeah.
you just look and go, oh, that's George Clooney. We'll go see that. Film.
That's the new
That's-
Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
I'll
Whereas-
avoid that.
Yeah,
Like-
no, I would.
Okay.
Kevin likes.
I like Tom Cruise.
Oh,
I think
find
he's
him
great.
repulsive.
Ah, you guys.
But yeah, I get what you mean.
repellent.
So I can't think of.
But what they try to replace it with superheroes, they try to replace Tom Cruise with Marvel Studios.
Yes.
So you go because of the Marvel,
Yes.
or you go because of the DC film, and it didn't matter who was in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the counter argument would be like when George Lucas made Star Wars, he picked Mark Hamill because he was no name,
Yep.
Yeah.
and he wanted a nobody. If you'd have put someone that's famous, not that he's nobody, but you know what I mean. If you put a famous name in that role, it would take away from the farm boy aesthetic.
But because off the back of that one, Harrison Ford became a movie star, and you would go see a film based on Harrison Ford.
But at the time,
No, when
He
it came
wasn't.
out, he was
He was
just
a
up and
carpenter,
coming.
wasn't he?
He was. He was
working
a-
on the sets or whatever, and they
he
were
was-
like, "You look like Han Solo. You're on a job."
Well, he was there doing the script reads with the actors. He'd sit in with the actors that came in, and then they went, "Oh, actually, what about this guy?"
no, and actually he's quite good.
Yeah.
When they saw, yeah. So with you're right. The actors, it became less about, and that's his sidebar again.
Sidebar of a sidebar.
Yeah.
Sidebar. But with the movie stars, what's interesting is you're right. That did happen. We no longer have a Tom Cruise film unless it's Tom Cruise.
Yes,
And by that, there's no one else that it matters to.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone else that matters about in the industry that it is a Tom Cruise film, whether it's Mission Impossible or whether it's Edge of Tomorrow or whatever. Who else does that these days anymore?
I'm trying to think. Brad Pitt maybe just.
Does he though?
Because that
I'd
side of
watch-
it
yeah.
doesn't interest me, and that's why I don't get on with the man anymore in my head, because it doesn't bother me.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I was just like, if you're a good actor, then I'll go and watch your movie. You being famous isn't interesting to me. You being good in a film interests me. So when I watched him I recently watched A Few Good Men.
Mhm.
He's brilliant in that. Didn't find him irritating in the slightest. When you go on to Graham Norton and he's talking about the latest stunt he's done,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't care. If it's a film good or not, don't sell it because Tom did this. Sell it because it's a good film.
That was
That
the problem
grates
with the
me.
last Mission Impossible film. It was a really good film, but they were showing that stunt where he jumps off the cliff in
Oh,
his
breaks his
motorbike.
ankle. God, he's a hero.
No, the motorbike. When he jumps
Oh.
off the cliff on his motorbike and parachutes down. You'd seen it so many times that when you came to watch it in the film,
Yeah, it was nothing.
you were just like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there is the drop off
Yeah.
afterwards where you're like, there's a moment where you're sort of in free fall and you're like, but because you've seen it with the ramp, they've CG'd over the ramp with
Yeah,
rocks,
you can
and
now
it's just
see
like,
the
oh,
ramp.
Yeah, it just
Yeah, and also it's like, yeah, we know you're a stuntman, because in effect he's a stuntman who acts.
But, you know, it's funny though, isn't it? Because like, there's been other stuntmen who've acted. Look at Jackie Chan.
Well, exactly.
And
But-
you don't see Jackie Chan going on about how look, when I did this. And
Oh, he
stuff.
does.
I mean, yeah, but-
being a good boy. Yeah, no, he does.
yeah, true.
It's one of those, it just
He doesn't go on talk shows and go, I did all of these stunts. He's, you know, I was a
Well,
Jackie.
the talk shows spin it that way, so they go.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway,
Who knows?
I
Either way.
digress.
It's a yeah.
Go on.
It's
So
a
Next
sorry,
next
off the
question.
sidebar. Go.
taking the final leap of superheroes, because Marvel versus DC happened, and then you got Snyder, and then Marvel after Guardians. Interesting, you said the Guardians. Then you got on the other side of the aisle, you ended up with Suicide Squad trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Which is edited by
Which they recut.
which they recut.
The
by
trailer
person
guys.
who made the trailer, which is mental, and couldn't do that. So they ended up trying to compete with each other. And my own thought on that was Warner Brothers, who own DC, can't seem to do anything right,
They don't know what they're doing.
genuinely, because they just keep what do other people do? We'll try that.
Yep.
And they never think for
Well,
themselves.
it was reactionary. So off the back of Batman v Superman, which was a very dark film, they were freaking out because again, Guardians came out around that time, so they were like, shit, we need to have a light-hearted film. So when they released the cinema Comic-Con trailer for Suicide Squad, it was a really dark, gritty trailer. Then they released the first proper trailer, and it was all pop songs and upbeat and colourful. And everyone was like, yes, this is going to be great. And Warner Bros. Like, that's not the film we've got in the can. So they got the guys that cut the trailer and just got them to hack it out, release it that way.
really?
Yeah,
I never
it
knew
was
that.
edited. Or it was like a
So
cross.
there's a good version of the Suicide Squad.
Apparently.
somewhere out
Yeah, apparently
Well,
there's the
David
Ayer
Ayer
cut.
version. Yeah.
But I don't
And he's
understand why
really
they-
still angry.
there. I don't understand why they didn't do that. If you've got Marvel doing one thing, then go the opposite way. Because look at like things like in 2008, like The Dark Knight and the Batman Begins and the Nolan Batman things and stuff. They were great. They were
This
really,
is the
really
people.
good.
This is just it. This is Warner Brothers interference, because I think the people, the board folk, and the directors of Warner Brothers at the time went, DC, do this because this is over here. This is working.
We
Well,
want
DC
more
were,
of that. We want some of
DC
that
were ahead of the
money.
game though, because they just done the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like they had the Harry Potter films. They had something else. There was like 3 franchises they had,
Yeah.
and then suddenly there was a change of guard, and they just didn't know what to do with it.
What's interesting is now jumping forward to 2024, and there are 3 franchises out of Batman with the Penguin. They're doing the Harry Potter TV show because they've
Yep.
got the rights to that. They're doing Doom because that's the new discovery. Doom TV.
This
So
is
they
a
own
TV show,
Game
though.
of Thrones as well, don't they?
Yeah, the HBO seems to be doing everything right at the moment.
Mm.
They've got
But
years of
that's not Warner
experience.
Brothers.
Warner Brothers do own Game of
It
Thrones.
is Warner
It's
Brothers'
HBO.
own HBO. Yeah. There was
Yeah.
I had
The
some
reason I know that is because they tried to do a video game which was like Super Smash Brothers for Nintendo, but it was all like
Game of Thrones.
but it was all Looney Tunes and Batman and Game of Thrones and all that sort of stuff. it
So-
didn't go very well.
So the cool thing about the Harry Potter show is that each series is going to be a
One
book, and they're going to go into the bad news is apparently one of the lead writers hasn't read the books and feels that, again, insert right here, feels that he can tell the story better than J.K. Rowling.
See, this is why
This
Warner
is-
Brothers keep getting it wrong, because they listen to folk like that.
This is what happened to... So you remember when the
About
early...
wizards?
the early-
I'll do a movie about that. No worries.
The early Marvel films that came out, every actor was like, I just got given a stack of comic books. I was going through, getting the character, learning it all. Now, the actors don't know necessarily what they're filming, like with Wanda in Doctor Strange. And the writers haven't read the comic books. They just write this,
Yeah.
fill in the gaps.
It's
Yeah.
bizarre. Okay, so Warner
Anyway.
Brothers. No, I'm keeping us on track. So Warner
Go.
Brothers don't seem to. Now, other studios might not seem to get it right either.
No,
So,
they seem to have a lot of misses at the moment. They're in free fall.
and they have for since Nolan, since his Batman
Yeah.
stuff, regardless of the franchise, apart from Dune, which worked,
Yes.
but then I liked that. The other people won't.
I didn't really like it.
Because it's not your cup
Well,
of
I
tea.
never read it, so and it kind of like and my opinion on it is that if you've never read it or watched the original films, then it kind of like expects you to know who these characters are and to give a crap about these people when it's like I have no idea who this person
Okay,
is.
so
Like,
Except
you know, why should I care that some guy is kidnapped or
Okay,
whatever,
so-
or put his hand in a box? Like, I don't get any of this.
fair point.
You know?
So
That's
why
in
is
the
that
film,
different
though,
from a
in
different
the
IP?
first,
If you're starting a new, I absolutely hear you.
Yeah.
If it's the new IP,
Mhm.
when do you ever get invested?
No, and this is it, you know. But you are right, absolutely.
But at
it's
some
just-
point, you've got to meet the character the first time and care.
Yeah, of course. But I kind of feel like with this more than other IP stuff that I've watched, it's like it kind of because it is such a well-established thing.
Yeah.
It kind of expected you to know who these people
But
were
that's
before.
how the book starts with the. You don't really know what's going on. He just puts the hand in the box, and the
It's not an easy franchise to get into.
David
It's
Lynch
just-
film same.
I mean,
You
I
have to see.
watched 2/3 of the first one
Okay.
and was like, it's beautifully shot. Everyone looks really cool. All the acting's really good, but I don't care about any of these characters.
Fair
And
enough.
that was my issue with
Fair.
it. It was like all the action looks amazing. It's a fantastic movie, great, but like I was like, I have no idea who any of these people are and why should I care about them? Do you know what I mean? And that was my thing. And I probably, if I sat down and was like, okay, let's do a bit of digging. But I'm kind of like, I know what franchises I make. I don't want to get into
I
another
don't
one.
have room for more.
No.
Well, that's
Still
absolutely
taking up
correct.
40k knowledge.
You're wrong. But
Yeah.
So when the TV show happens, if it happens,
Yeah.
then your brain will either break or you will melt into some sort of
well, why
happy juice.
would you watch the TV show if you've not watched the films?
No, it's-
So that's
No, the TV show 40k.
Oh, yeah,
oh,
well,
it's
Yeah, we'll see, won't we?
You'll either love it or you'll loathe it.
Yeah.
There'll be no.
Oh, and be prepared for an episode of a podcast on that when you don't give a monkeys about it and me just waxing your.
No, I'll ask questions. I will like the touch paper and step well back.
Yeah.
Instructions.
Watch me go
Step
mental
back.
for an hour.
I'll just say the words.
So
they don't have knee pads.
so there is certain things in cinema now that and it's something I thought about when I was listening to the previous episode. There is certain things that I tend to gravitate towards now with movies that I didn't before. I'm very much more selective about what films I go and see at the cinema.
Such as.
I mean, the only films I've gone and seen this year has been Civil War with you guys, which was fantastic, and Romulus. So the only two films I went to the cinema to see.
What made you go and see them over everything else?
So-
Because you and I have talked a lot about the A24 releases this year.
A24 stuff is right up my alley.
But you haven't.
Depending on who the director is, I've found. So if Ari Aster does a new A24 movie, I'm all straight away.
Oh really?
Very, very good.
I don't like Ari Aster.
No.
No.
If Robert Eggers does anything, I'm really into it.
I'm down with that.
Absolutely love Robert Eggers. The next film I'm looking forward to seeing is Nosferatu when it comes to around the Christmas time or whatever. But that's really about it. And then obviously it depends on the sort of. I watched the trailers and stuff. I was saying to you and Dog Walk last week or this week that I watched the trailer for Heretic with Hugh Grant.
That looks good.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I saw the
I'm
trailer.
really excited for that. Like, but that sort of those are the sort of movies that I like to go and see now, and I think it's because it's more independent and it's more sort of fresh and interesting ideas with people who are lesser known.
So is that you changing your taste?
Probably.
Or that actually you're bored of the generic stuff that seems to be coming out that isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of things like Mission Impossible or like the big franchise things. Like, I've never seen a Fast and Furious film. I'm a nerd,
But
so
it's
I like.
about family.
Is it? I thought
No,
it was about cars.
It's about family.
Right.
Now you've seen.
Vin Diesel. I know the
You've
memes.
seen
Oh, I know
every-
the memes, absolutely. But
You've
like,
seen the meme, you've seen the film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've not seen any of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like I haven't even seen all of the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. Like,
That was
Okay.
the last one. I hate it.
I think Spectre was the last one I saw. Like, so I don't know.
I like Skyfall, but that was the same.
No, Skyfall. Yeah, I have seen that.
Which,
That was
oh, don't say that.
But it was. We've just ruined another film for
Ruin
you.
another film.
It was what?
It was Home Alone.
Home Alone. Yeah. Oh yeah, is they putting all the shotgun shells under the floorboards and stuff? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Alright, well, I can't
But
remember.
you
I
know-
told you the other day that Die Hard is Alien from
For the alien.
the alien's perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
Die Hard.
Yeah. So John
You-
McClane's running around, there's people
Running
around.
events.
Yeah. John McClane's the alien,
Oh goodness.
sneaking around. So what's going on? Why are these people after me? He just wants to
And,
get
yeah,
home to his family.
thinking about going to the movies and stuff, there's certain like franchises that I will gravitate towards and things that I will want to go and see, but like I'm more at a point now where I kind of like, wow, if I miss it in the cinema, it's not such a big deal because it will just go streaming in like 3 months or less than that.
So
like,
for-
you
It's
know.
four, yeah, it's
we
4
start
months.
we started touching on that earlier, and in fact we had a listener question since last episode. So I'll come to that in a second because it's relevant. But to follow up on your comment there, therefore, does the cinema experience as a whole for you, Adam,
Mm.
not matter as much as maybe it used to, or never? If you can see it on a screen,
You have more
matters.
options now, I think, and it's not such a long wait, and it's not the difference because streaming exists. It's not like a thing where if I miss this movie in the cinema, I have to buy the DVD for like 15 quid. Do you know what I mean? I
But
can
in
just
terms of
wait and watch
not
it.
in terms of the money, but in terms
Yeah.
of like if they're films like you went to see Civil War at the cinema,
Mhm.
you could argue the case it would still look beautiful on TV,
Mhm.
but you chose to go to the
Yeah, and,
cinema.
and this is it. There's certain things that, like, when they come out, you think, yeah, that would be really cool in the cinema. You know, and it's those grand spectacle things, you know, Lord of the Rings, Blade Runner, that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like, yeah, this would look really good on a big screen. And then there's certain films that I watch at home, and think, oh shit, I should have seen that in the cinema.
Yeah.
I bet that would look really cool.
And the reverse could be said. Like, what's the film that you genuinely like and I don't? The horror film that's streaming. About this lady who's streaming. I never found it scary. They're all on the Zoom call.
Oh, Host.
Host.
Yeah.
Obviously, watching Host on a laptop screen would be really interesting because the
Yeah,
entire
That's
thing
how I
is
watched
set
it. Yeah, I
up.
watched it during
Like you're in a Zoom
lockdown.
Cool, clever.
It was,
So to watch that on a cinema would break the illusion. That you're
Yeah.
actually so there. But I can absolutely hear what you're saying about some things need to be seen at the cinema. I was just interested to see because I love Civil War, as we all do.
But you remember growing up you'd watch films on a Saturday night. That was the thing. Like BBC or ITV would show a
Yeah,
big
would
film.
show a
Christmas
movie.
film.
Or Christmas film. Yeah.
After the Queen did that
Yeah,
speech.
I do a speech and then you get Raiders of the Lost
And
Ark.
I always wondered when my granddad stood up.
For the Queen's speech.
Yeah, because the national anthem came on. Granddad stood up.
Because he has respect.
And because he was a doddering elderly man, because he physically couldn't move.
By the time the speech had finished, he
No, by the
stood up.
time he'd stand up and the music would have stopped because it took him that long to get
Oh,
up.
bless him.
But yeah, so it is. There's many films I've seen at home and have enjoyed them, and that's back in the old days. So you'd see them on VHS, and it was like the shit version, and still enjoyed the film. So
I think
It
certain
does-
movies like have that
transcends,
VHS
yeah.
charm and look better in those sort of formats.
So old horror films look really good on VHS.
Well, I remember like I'd seen it like several times before, but the original Texas Chainsaw.
Yep.
We went to it was back when the Wave Maiden pub was still
I know,
around, and
yeah.
they did a horror night, and they showed 2 films back to back as like on like a dirty like sheet they hung up
Pinned.
on and pinned to the wall and put a projector on, and it was the Poltergeist, the original
so good.
Poltergeist, and like my brother-in-law had never seen either of these films, so we went in, we watched Poltergeist, and he was like, oh yeah, it was a cheesy horror, you know,
Yeah.
kind of funny things, you know, quotable bits and stuff. And then the second film was the original Texas, right?
God.
And I love those movies. I think they're great. But for those of you who've not seen Texas, Texas is just gore, gore, gore. The end. Like nothing happens. There is no story. It's just savage violence. Game over. The end.
There is no gore.
No, there is no
That's
gore.
the
but
brilliance
you know
of
what
it.
I mean?
It feels
It's-
like there's gore.
Yeah, it's disturbing
It's
imagery.
disturbing. And
There's
they
All the
can't-
way
Literally-
through it, and then I remember the lights coming on in the Wave Maiden afterwards, and he just looked at it, he was white as a sheet, he was as whiter than the sheet we watched the thing on, and he was like, "You're right, mate," and he's like, "I didn't expect it to be like that." It's like,
It's like-
Poltergeist.
Well, because it was originally one of the banned video nasties in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it never got a home video release. And
Right.
the censors were saying that basically there was nothing they could take out of it that would remove
Make
the
it-
psychology of the
Yeah.
film. There's something in the film itself
vibe.
that just
I love
gives
it.
you that.
It's
so good.
fantastic.
Have you seen the sequel?
No.
Because I watched that this week.
I want to
Oh,
make a
really?
request.
Kevin and I were talking about it at the weekend, and I discovered it on Prime,
Right.
and so I put it on.
Is this because there's been several?
Oh no, this is the
It's a
immediate
direct-
The
follow-up
yeah.
immediate follow-up.
with Dennis
Right.
Hopper in it.
Oh right, yes, I think I have seen that.
And
actually,
it's
yeah.
the most gory film because they do
It's so-
all the gore that was missing from the first film is in the second film.
buckets of pigs.
Yeah.
Buckets
Oh,
of it.
And it's the weirdest thing. And I was trying to think because I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Ah, it's
It's
so
in
good.
the first one's in my top 10 of all time, and it's like, what's the difference? And the thing that disturbed me more about the first of those Texas films is because it's isolated. If you put that weird family in a normal, like the dad of that family goes to a baking competition and wins,
Chili cook-off.
and it's just like, yeah, exactly.
What in the sequel?
In the
Yeah.
sequel,
What?
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
So he wins the chili cook-off because he's selling. It's like
People chili.
Yeah,
chili.
and it's like, oh, what's the
So
secret
you-
recipe? And it's
If
like,
you
oh.
put him being interviewed by the press about
Right.
his people chili skills,
Yeah.
it just takes away from the dread. Right? You see what I mean? So
Oh
maybe
my
you've
God.
forgotten it,
Okay.
you haven't seen it.
I don't know. Yeah, I remember.
It's
Dennis.
worth a
Is
watch.
Dennis Hopper wearing a cowboy hat?
Yes.
Yeah, then I have seen it.
And it's weird because he plays the brother of the original survivor.
Oh
Final
my
film.
God! Right.
It's
Okay.
mental.
Right.
So that took it, whereas the trauma of it just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
It
You
doesn't
come
make any
across-
sense. And it's
you come
what makes
across
it
that
so
house.
good.
And then she leaves.
Yeah.
They don't get caught. They don't get found
No,
out.
nothing happens,
They get away with it, and she gets to escape.
and it's just her with
But
mental
the
scarring.
the thing
Yeah,
with
yeah,
both
that's
of those
true.
films that is fascinating to me is, and I was listening to the headphones in bed. My wife was asleep next to me and thinking, is she going to wake up because they're now loud? It wasn't the headphones.
So the first film, it's
Both
just
of them-
screaming.
The screaming.
Yeah.
And the second
Still
film was the
screaming.
same.
What's-
The last 20 minutes of that film was her screaming, and the same with the sequel.
Mm.
She just there's no shouting; it's screaming.
Because there is a soundtrack for the original, but it's more soundscape that's
It's like
disturbing.
grinding metal. So
And
it's like
then
a
the other
Kubrick
films have got-
soundscape.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
It's just grinding machinery.
It's just very. So
Yeah,
It's
that's
like-
it.
But sidebar,
High pitch.
No,
they ties back to Texas Massacre.
Yeah.
That was one of the inspirations Ridley Scott had for Alien.
yes,
Oh,
But
really?
he didn't tell Fox because he was worried that they would go no.
Mm.
He was inspired by, Star Wars was one of the big things, and yeah.
and I'd be
Texas
fascinated
Chainsaw
to know,
Massacre.
not taking away from that,
Wow.
but thinking about it because clearly they're two tones of those two films are completely different, and there's clearly one.
But there are parallels you can draw between them.
absolutely.
It's the dread, it's the tension, it's the dread, and it's what you see and what you don't see.
Because I'm not
Mm.
disturbed about Alien like I am about Texas.
See, I watched the first Alien when I was a kid, and that terrified me.
Yeah.
Again, that was an ITV jobby when I was probably 8, 9, or 10. I saw it, and it was actually
That'll do
terrifying.
things to you, won't it?
And to the point when I was 16, I bought the VHS, and I was still concerned about watching it. I was like, ooh, put it in.
Interesting.
Mm.
You've got your limits.
Yeah.
We found Kevin. Kevin doesn't have limits.
I don't have limits anymore.
Not anymore. But coming back to your questions for statement, Adam, because
Yeah.
actually you started on that streaming with our listener comment was, and I've written it down with really bad handwriting.
Yeah, you,
So-
you look like you're struggling to
We
read.
need to translate.
Old man.
Would you like to borrow my glasses?
Yeah. So we started touching on this last week. We talking about streaming. We did finish it up. So I literally written. No, I can't.
Give it here. Give
No,
it
no,
to
no.
me.
Because you won't be able to read it. Okay, so is there
Perhaps the lotion.
is there a similar relationship between decline of, okay, so is there a similar relationship between the decline of films and the rise of streaming? By that, so streaming shows, for example, streaming companies are now going, we need to keep the hook. We're going to buy this, we're going to buy that, we're going to do this streaming show. Doesn't mean it's true or not sustainable. It's a question to avoid, not this is true. Is there a coherence between the rise in streaming and the fact that cinema
Financially, hell of a lot. Yeah, there's a lot more like money put into streaming stuff now. Big budget shows. I mean, look at the Lord of the Rings TV show, for example. It's like the most expensive project ever done, or something ridiculous. But that's sort of like, whereas all of that money previously, and from a media standpoint, would go into a film
Yeah.
and would go into a big budget movie. It's now like, well, we'll do a big budget television show that will run for 8 episodes and get absolutely panhandled by the critics, and then not do any more. Like, so but they make that money back hand over fist by subscription service. So
well, that
they
was
can-
Amazon's. Amazon
well, you
don't
can
have RP.
yeah.
Amazon's a a bit of an anomaly because obviously they own everything. But like, for example, Netflix can have a show like, I think it was the latest one. I've not seen it, but I saw an article saying that they're cancelling a show called Chaos starring Jeff Goldblum that everyone really loved, but because it's middle numbers or middle sort of performing,
I have a theory.
but it doesn't matter to them because it's like, well, that money we lost doing that we'll make back in a month because all the subscriptions.
My theory with that is they're pushing for clout on it, so they're announcing it's cancelled because loads of people love it. So people that never saw it will then go watch it,
and then they go, it's coming back,
and then they can make the announcement, and it creates these articles where it just eats, so it eats itself. It creates
perpetual sort of.
We're gonna what was there were some other things where they hadn't announced season 2, and then they announced season 2, and everyone was like,
interesting. With the streaming stuff, I used to stream, like, sort of sign up to services a lot more than I do now, and it's common that people do it. Is you'll subscribe while there's a show and you're interested in, and then cancel it.
People don't do that.
I do that.
I mean, that's the right way to do it, absolutely. But a lot of people don't, and then the company like, well, you've been paying for it for 6 months.
Yeah, my parents have got everything. Yeah, every subscription channel, like the main ones.
It's just like having cable TV again, Sky TV again, isn't it?
Which is what you hinted at the other day.
Yeah, which is just like.
So I don't know, because obviously in the early days when you had, like The Wire, The Sopranos, like writers and actors were sort of leaning towards the TV more because that's where you got the quality. Where you had a 2-hour film, you couldn't really get an idea across or a character development across in the 2 hours, whereas you had multiple series where you had it. Yeah, and
it also made a lot of people into movie stars or into filmmakers.
Yep.
And when you look at Idris Elba, who's like a bit part on HBO's The Wire, wasn't he? And then now he's bound to get, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting because the other lesson for the year was it's now acceptable for film stars to be in TV shows.
Yeah.
Which is true. Well, I was trying to think, is there one outside of jokes aside? If the day that Tom Cruise does TV, we'll know something the hell's thrown over or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he would.
I know his contract with the devil doesn't allow him to.
But there have been other movie stars I never think would jump to TV and then out.
Well, look at what you've just watched season 4 of
True Detective.
True Detective, Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
So would you ever have thought Jodie Foster would go into
to
that? Colin Farrell did season 2 of True Detective.
Yeah.
But now he's in The Penguin and he's just doing such a great job.
Boardwalk Empire was one of my favourite TV shows.
I did the first series, that was good.
Steve Buscemi, and it introduced me to actors like Michael Shannon, who was amazing.
Yep.
And I've seen him in loads of different things now, and it was a point where it was like, oh, Michael Shannon's in this movie, I'll watch it.
Because the old adage was that if you could see an actor weekly at home, why would you then pay to go see them at cinema? So that's why there never used to be a crossover between TV actors
when you say
and film
the
actors.
Old adage, are we talking what decade are we talking?
Well, early to mid 90s. So like George Clooney, when he transitioned from ER to become a film star, he then totally distanced himself from TV.
Does he come back to see? Because he clearly did Attack of the Killer Tomatoes before ER.
Yeah, I saw that.
And all those ridiculous films.
He has a great scene in I can't remember if it's Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 1 or 2, where halfway through the film he's making pancakes and he tosses the pancake and it doesn't come back and he's like looking around. He's like, oh, that's weird. And at the end of the film they round everything up. He's like, well, that's everything round up. And he's like looking around and the pancake drops on his head. It's like
interesting with him because you're right. He didn't go back to TV at the same time ER was happening with him because Tarantino directed an episode of
he
ER,
did,
and that's off the back of.
Is it for the feet?
No, you could tell because he would cut to the bone saw when they cut into amputations and stuff. It was very
it wasn't
gory. But
it was
different vibes. The episode before, the episode after.
I never watched ER.
But
it was really good. Yeah, it was good.
But that was at the same time as that vampire flick, which was called. Come on, answer the question.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which was his first.
But so he was cross-fertilising then, but you're right, he hasn't gone back since.
Was that the first? That might have been the first film he did.
Dusk Till Dawn?
Yeah, where he then started catapulting into movie stars from TV.
Because
based off
Tarantino saw him in ER.
And when was it? Oh, he's using a film.
Charismatic.
And the way Rodriguez got him was he said to Clooney was, the film might not do well, but either way I'm going to shoot you like a movie star. And that's why every shot with George Clooney is lit and shot like a movie star. from that. That was sort of propelled him. And then he did Out of Sight, I think,
Yeah,
which is so good.
yeah. Best Michael Keaton cameo ever.
Yeah, off the back, it was the Jackie Brown character.
Yeah. That was cool. So streaming wise, because this was our proper question. So going back to it briefly, so streaming has had an impact because they've got to now. If you think now with streaming,
It rivals the budget of movies, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
and when
so
you've got
Game
someone
of
like
Thrones,
Bezos who's throwing his hat in the ring to pay for it, like
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. But I mean, I know I've seen 2 episodes, and apparently season 2 is a lot better.
no,
Yeah.
it gets worse, apparently.
Well, the reviews are guessing, like the magazines
Okay.
are going.
The vitriol's going down a bit, is it?
Like they'll give it 4 or 5 stars.
Well, I think that was, again, false generated.
You reckon?
Yeah, the articles
Yeah,
came out
people
before they
hate
even
watch stuff
choose.
as well, don't they?
Netflix
show.
is an old one because they're picking and choosing what they bid like chaos.
Yeah.
And they're bidding a shit ton of stuff really quickly and then trying something else and bidding it and trying something else until they get a hit.
Going back to Warner Brothers, they obviously they cancelled the Batwoman or Batgirl
Yeah.
film.
Oh yeah.
That was
of
going to
course,
be
that was going to be
a
a thing.
that was only for streaming, but
Gonna
they
be Alicia
cancelled.
Stills
No, unfortunately, it was. But from all accounts, it tested better than Flash and Aquaman, and
They
it
couldn't
was,
test it worse.
it was all finished. It was all ready to go, and at the 11th hour, they just went, nope, that's a $100 million write-off. So they,
Wow.
it's,
And is that DC making that call? or
it
Warner
was
Brothers
no,
above?
it's Mike. I forgot his name. David Zaslav, who owns Warner Brothers now. He came from the Discovery Channel, and he is basically just culling. Apparently, Warner Brothers are in so much debt, billions of dollars of debt, and it's everything they're trying to do.
This is why I'm seeing adverts to go to Harry Potter World.
Yeah, probably
So they-
because they just make money,
Make money.
make money off the thing, and that's why they've gone back to the icon.
The IP that
So
they...
the Batman, they made sure that was good. The new Harry Potter TV show they're going to push. Hopefully it'll be good.
We'll see, won't we? But yeah, in regards to movies over streaming and things, like, I think you have a lot more options now. Like, you're not limited to, like, when we were growing up, it was you went to movies to see a movie. You know, if you don't see it in the cinema, you could wait and get it from Blockbuster, or you forget it exists and you never watch it.
Yeah.
Now it's always on an option. If it comes to a streaming thing, if you're sitting on a Friday night looking at the TV, you can go, oh, look, there's 1,000 films I can see.
Well, I think it's definitely 4 months from cinema to being available, but I think you can rent some of the films. Like it's like a month or 2. You can pay 20
there was
quid to
one.
own it.
What movie came out recently that did so badly they put it to streaming already?
Borderlands.
No.
Yes.
You can buy
Yes.
it.
Borderlands is like going to streaming. Like it was in the cinema for like 2 weeks.
But you're right.
I saw it.
You went to see
I
it,
saw
didn't
it,
you? I
yeah.
saw it.
If you think about back in
That is horrendous.
Back in day.
back in day, like genuinely.
Well, no, lads, it was on
there was
fields.
a 6-month gap till you could rent it, and then from cinema, and a 6-month gap from that till you could own it.
Yeah.
And now, Deadpool came out in August, and at the 4th of November it's released physically. And before physically,
It was
released,
supposedly it's
streamed.
going to be streaming because
They always
I
stream
tried
first.
to watch it the other day on streaming because I was under the impression that it was going to be on streaming on the 1st of October.
But you
But,
can
Yeah,
take
that's
it.
why they pushed it. That
yeah,
it was only
but
to
then
buy.
I bought popcorn and was like, Steph, let's do a movie night, and it wasn't there. So we watched Agatha All Along instead. And I was
Fun.
like, this has been great. Like,
Fun sidebar. Do you know what the first day and date with rental and to buy what film was?
Yes. Filmed in England.
No, that was the first. You could watch it on TV. You could watch it in the
Oh.
cinema. You could choose how you wanted it. So they released it in the cinema.
On
They
Channel
released it
4.
film
on
is
Channel
this?
4. A Field in England. It's a Ben Wheatley film.
all right.
And you could buy the Blu-ray. So on the same day, you could do it. But the first film to be released in cinemas, then 6 months later, you could rent it from the video shop, or you could physically buy it.
Yeah.
Rain Man.
Really?
Bring it all back to Tom Cruise.
God, no!
God no! That was the very first.
Tour
Wow.
of music.
Yeah, that was a test. I think they were seeing how it works.
See if it was working.
And then it did for a bit, and then DVD. That was when they would release brand new films to buy the same day they came out to rent.
Oh.
as well.
Interesting.
Back in 90s, late
So
90s.
so basically streaming is just because it's the now mentality. If it's the next thing, let's keep it. It feels more. We were talking about this last week. It feels more like than ever before. It's a business. It's a movie industry. And I know it's always been a movie industry, but it's like, what's the next thing? This doesn't work. What's the next thing? This doesn't work. This is
Yeah.
working. Let's keep doing this. That's what it feels like to me. Whether it's streaming
Yeah.
or movies.
But they always make the mistake of this is working. Let's do more of this, and then
Push it to
the
stop
audience has
working.
moved on. Then
Yeah.
They never look at. So the guys who are still trying to release stuff in 3D, why? Genuinely.
Yeah.
But if you're wasting
Because I
money.
spent all this money on this camera.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
got
that
this
was-
3D camera. I
that
might as
was,
well use it.
The guy who did the Resident Evil film, he did
My
straight
wife
after.
loves those films.
I love them. They're great.
She absolutely loves them.
The first one after Avatar that came out, they shot in 3D, and his selling point was these are the actual cameras that James Cameron used to shoot Avatar as well. So we've got the proper 3D cameras.
It's a selling point. If you
Yeah, that's my.
it
No,
a
it's not
guilty
guilty. It's
pleasure?
not a guilty
It
pleasure.
is
It's a
for a
pleasure.
wife, yeah.
It's a pleasure.
It's not guilty pleasure.
Resident Evil films are
Mila
great.
Djokovic Resident Evil
Yeah.
movies, which are nothing like the video games.
They're so good. To the point that they ripped off. Is it Dead Island? There was a teaser trailer for Dead Island back in
What was
2010. I
the
think.
little girl falling out the window and stuff?
Yeah, it was all in
Yeah,
reverse.
it was fantastic.
So they had the next Resident Evil that came out had the opening scene in reverse. And
Clever.
it played backwards, and it was what was happening then.
That was a
Switched.
groundbreaking video game trailer. The game was mediocre.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
trailer
no.
was amazing.
Trailer was amazing.
great.
Even
And
I
the-
remember
the
that
follow-up
one.
trailer for Dead Island 2, which was canned and then actually finally released like 15 years later.
Yeah.
With the fella doing the jogging down the beach. He was doing jogging down the beach in like California. His headphones in, and
Oh, it's
behind
all
him there's all that stuff. And
chaos.
his flesh starts falling off, and he's like, shambling along as a
Me too.
zombie. And it's a great trailer. But yeah.
Hooray!
So yeah.
Okay. So that's what I think about streaming and movie industry.
There's too much choice. There's not enough quality control, I would say.
And I
maybe.
find as well with streaming, like, and I'm sure people do this as well, where I'll be like, right, I want to watch a movie. I'm not sure what I want to watch. I won't watch anything. I'll just scan through lists and lists
Yep.
and lists and lists and go, I've been doing this for an hour and a half now. And
It's bed
I'll
now.
go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. It's the paralysation of like too much choice. Like,
Do you find as well that they bury films in the you can't? They're not easily accessible. You have to go deep into the menu
yeah.
to find
Well,
them.
so my go-to way of doing it is if I don't know what movie I want to watch, it's usually like me and my wife watch horror films. That's
Yep.
our thing. So we'll go to what's new on the horror stuff on either Now TV or Netflix. Well, I don't have Netflix, or Now TV or Disney Plus.
Yep.
And then if that is not anything, then my next thing is go right bargain basement. What's in the bottom of the pit of Amazon Prime?
Yeah,
And
well,
I
that-
see some fantastic crap films that are just brilliantly shit, and I love them. There is a series of films. I think there's about 8 of them now, and I religiously watch them. The Bad Ben series.
I've not heard of those.
Right, you're gonna love it. So-
Google it now.
Recommendations. Bad Ben.
Bad Ben is basically kind of like Paranormal Activity,
Mhm.
but it's all shot by like one guy. And it's imagine if you did Paranormal Activity with about 500 quid's budget.
I think that was the budget for Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, but no story either. But they've got like 8 films out of this. It's so bad. It's great. It's like
What's that noise?
yeah,
And
but
go down to the.
I can't describe it properly. Please go and Google it. Please have a look.
I will-
It's not been rated, as in it hasn't got a rating.
There's no one.
so
It's
good.
not rated.
Oh, it's not
Oh,
even. Oh,
so-
yeah,
so-
there's a few of those.
It's
It's
5
1
hours.
hour 26 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's got a guy who, this is great radio again. Guy waving at the camera.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
got
it.
his GoPro in the
Oh,
corner
it's so
of the room.
good. I've seen
If
like
you
all
shave,
5 of them.
This was you. If you
Yeah.
had shaved, this is what you
The
did.
glasses on.
Have you checked out Shudder?
Yeah, we had lookers. We got Shudder because they did a. We cancelled it after we did the U, where we watched a series and then cancelled it.
Pre-trial,
which- but they did a thing on cursed films.
Oh, yeah,
A
I know the one.
documentary series about these cursed movies and why people died and stuff.
The Poltergeist 3.
Fantastic series, really interesting stuff. Like, really like that. But the only other film that's like on that bargain basement sort of crap horror films is the only film that me and my wife have watched. We've both woken up in the night and we've actually watched Family Guy at like 4 in the morning because we can't sleep. And that was Hell House LLC.
Oh, that's the guys who did Quiet Place.
Yeah, and it's brilliant.
I've heard good things.
It's really cool. It's
Yeah.
basically like you know when you go to those haunted houses or whatever, and people are dressed up as like murderers, like that. But then people actually start getting like messed up, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
and it's crap. It's low budget. It's not. There's nobody in it. There's nobody famous in it. It's like B movie style horror. Yet we both woke up in the middle of the night like I had a really bad dream to watch. Family Guy. She was like,
That's a
let's do
recommendation.
Oh,
that.
there's a number of them. There's 4 or 5.
Oh,
So
really?
the
I've only
director-
seen the first
We've
one.
got LLC Origins, Lake 3, The Lake of Fire.
Is it the same guys?
It's the same director.
There's two of them, isn't there?
Wow.
So yeah, recommendations: Hell House and the Bad Ben saga.
Bad Ben.
Is that like Ben 10? But
It's
bad.
honestly
Bad Ben 10.
no. There's one called Bad Ben.
Bad
This
Ben.
is the level we're dealing with here, people. It's
Okay.
fantastic. It's
Oh.
so
But
good.
there must be an audience though for it. So,
Yeah.
Because if it's
If they make it.
Honestly, next time you come round and see Steph, say, Steph, tell me about Bad Ben.
Bad
She'll
Ben.
wax lyrical. Honestly, we love
it
it.
might be your new Christmas Eve movie.
It's so crap.
Oh.
It's so crap. It's brilliant. It's
Wake
so
up and watch the
bad.
Muppets.
Well, as you said last week, we've done film.
We've done film.
So
We've done.
we've done
It
it.
feels like
We've-
we've done film.
we've done the subject
anything.
matter.
That's, although I say that, I did
Well,
watch a trailer for a good
still
film
want to do
today.
our top tens and stuff.
Oh, we'll do
Like,
that, yeah.
No, I meant in live.
No,
we've
we've seen everything.
You've
That's
seen
what-
all the films.
There's nothing good
As
that's
a
new
trio, we've seen everything. That's what
Yeah.
between us.
What?
There's a new trailer for a film called The Order coming out. It's directed by Justin Kurzel, who did Macbeth and
Yes. And
Snowtown and Assassin's Creed. It's got Jude Law, it's got Nicholas Hoult. It's about FBI agent investigating white supremacists. It looks fantastic. It's genuine. It has a kind of tone of it feels like a Sauna film, and it feels like
Okay.
a bit like, I mean, there's not the supernatural element, but there's a true detective kind of vibe to it as well.
Interesting.
Recommend watch that trailer.
Very good.
You go and watch Bad Ben.
Go
Bad
on, Bad
But we will do a top. Yeah, we need to do a top 10s.
We'll do after twins. So, allegedly,
Allegedly.
before we wrap up,
That was too high on my mix.
allegedly, what?
When you
When I
edited
did
me,
that.
yeah, I did that.
That was
Yeah,
amazing.
what is your allegedly?
I don't know. Well, I'm asking.
Oh, you're
I'm
just
supposed-
making a noise.
Yeah.
You're just making the sound.
He's just allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, we were supposed to come with a list.
Tell
of
me
horror films.
something. Tell me a rumour you've heard on the grapevine this week, Adam.
Allegedly, and it's been confirmed, so it's no longer allegedly, but allegedly they're doing Alien Isolation 2.
Yes. that
Creative
is-
Assembly have announced that they're working on Alien Isolation 2, which would be fantastic.
I have an allegedly.
Go on.
Captain America 4, whatever it's
Brave
called,
New
Brave
World.
New World is not testing very well, but Thunderbolts is testing very well.
Is it
And it's a big surprise.
Are they testing?
Yes.
Wow.
Marvel test, unlike DC, who did not test allegedly. Joker.
The Flash and Joker 2 and
Yeah.
stuff.
Does Marvel always test?
Yeah, they test. Disney and Marvel test all the way through. That's why there's multiple versions. In fact, with the Indiana Jones film, they were
They
shooting.
tested it specifically to
No.
blind and deaf
No.
people.
When they were filming it, they were shooting multiple versions of scenes. Let's do a scene with this character in it. Let's do a scene without that character. Let's do it this funny. Let's do it. They didn't know what they were doing, so they would kind of scattershot
Wow.
the film.
Focus group in it.
So if we'll see if it works if we make it dark. We'll see if it works if we make it
I
funny.
will never watch Start of Destiny.
Nope. Adam.
I will never watch
I've
it.
suffered the.
So this is the next episode is us drinking while watching.
No. The next
Doing an
episode
audio
when we're
commentary.
all together is we're going to do a watch along of War.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Warworld's so good.
World is so good.
We'll have to do literally just, and then we'll put it on YouTube and people could watch.
Well,
at the
just
same
watch
time
it,
as
yeah.
us.
Is it in public domain? Because we'll
No.
get sued otherwise.
I think you can do it without.
If you put it on backwards.
Yeah, there'll be some way of doing it.
You know,
Did you guys ever see, like, complete last sort of thing here? But there was a Chinese dub cut of Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, where they put it basically the Chinese dub. What they've done with it is they put the script into Google Translate into Mandarin, and then Mandarin back to English, and they put it in a subtitle. And it's the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. So there's the scene right at the end, right, where Darth Vader is like, no,
No,
yeah.
Pac-Man, no.
He goes, do not. It's so good.
Oh, okay, that's no way.
It's on YouTube. The whole movie, like, is worth a look.
Oh, amazing.
That's cool. So we need to gather again to do our top 10s.
Yeah, I'd love that.
And we were going to do horror films, but
We'll do that as a Halloween special.
Do a Halloween special horror movie.
Right.
Bad Ben.
Bad Ben. Bad Ben.
Allegedly, Bad Ben is worth watching on Halloween.
It's not allegedly. It's fact. Straight up fact.
It's allegedly until I've seen it.
Facts.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Adams.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Stop
Thank you,
it. Say
Pussycat.
goodbye to the folk at home.
Goodbye to the folk at home.
Say goodbye to the folk at home.
Goodbye, folks at home.
You can all bugger off now. Bye.
Bye.
There we go. Fantastic work.
That's good. Good job.